Dr. Phyobemo Ngully. This is from a friend, a brother, who had the much cherished privilege of knowing him and working with him in the same fields of social involvement for a number of years. My recollection of Dr. Mully brings to my mind the world in crisis, which worries all of us every day, in what we read and what we see, we hear, locally and coming from the world outside, and which we are also experiencing in the localized, unpredictable manifestations of insecurity, violence, corruption, division, blaming and condemning one another, very often going even beyond that, that all of us know and experience every day in our blessed Nagaland. I must say here that he spoke Tengidia of a higher quality than mine. Amazing, beautiful Tengidia. I learned some of the expressions from him. And he was faithful all the time to all those who were related to him, apart from all that beyond that. In Setchazuza, where I live, he has some of his relations from the Konoma side. And I was amazed at all weddings and funerals he would come, and fully present. It touched them, and I was always touched by them. I recall Dr. Mully with this global and local crisis because what stands out in my mind about him is his love for our people, our aspirations, and his compassionate understanding of what the Naga struggle for their history and aspirations has done to our people, that is, all of us, in different ways, but all unmanageable, the impact on us. And the civil society actions and movements to defend our human and political rights on the basis of the facts of our history and on the natural, moral, spiritual principles of justice. In these actions that I was involved in with him and others. What I was trying to say was that in both, he was very clear. The term he used unfailingly in social group discussions, conversations, or in larger public meetings is, to my recollection, the post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, that Mully mentioned. The ailment that has devastated and damaged all of us, whether those settled down in the towns and cities or the vast majority of our people spread across the length and breadth of the Naga homeland. As I thought of what I was going to say here today, that came to me again and again. He talks about the trauma with great seriousness, and this PTSD thing. This devastation has wounded us at the mental, psycho-spiritual level, deep within us, not seen by others. I only see that. You only see that. Our political and religious declamations are loud and getting ever louder. Because perhaps of our insecurity and confusion. This happens in all crises of peoples and nations. So we don't need to condemn ourselves for getting into so much loud shouting of slogans and declamations. But I think we should know that it could very well be coming from the devastation that is going on inside us. But today, after prolonged suffering of dislocation and chaotic changes, this internal psycho-spiritual damage, which is more difficult and destructive to us, the human beings who make up our society, our people, and our nation. Dr. Ngully's sensitive and compassionate understanding of this damage or ailment and his commitment and patriotism always shown to get our people to now give priority attention to the restoration of health and strength to our thinking, because everything starts at our thinking. So that we will raise women and men that the challenges that will come to us on greater scales that will be met. This is what comes to me in his crucial contribution to us that we are evaluating and thanking God for.
The passing of Dr. Phyobemo Ngully is not merely a loss of a beloved individual. It is the departure of a voice, a vision, and a moral strain that guided many of us through turbulent waters. As sudden as we are in our expression, we alerted to that. We cannot yet grasp the full magnitude of our loss. His absence is still fresh. We stand too close to the shock of his passing to see clearly through the film of our grief. But even now, some qualities he possessed and some special gifts alone gave him loom large. Dr. Mully's life was a grand story. Grand wonderful story opened by God himself. It was a narrative of conviction, compassion, and courage. He was a man of deep intellectual insights and unwavering moral clarity. His unwavering support for justice, whether advocating for the healing of their communities from the trauma of colonialism and militarism, or calling for reconciliation across fractured peoples, was rooted in a profound understanding of human dignity and divine grace. He did not speak merely to be heard. He spoke to awaken, to heal, to reconcile in every aspect. In every meeting where we met, I heard him speak. His imaginative power never dimmed. There was never a false note, never an insincere pause, never an artificial sentiment. He spoke with total sincerity and a humility that touched the soul. It is hard to believe that we shall not hear that clear and vibrant voice again. To Mully, his beloved wife, you are the fiber, the muscle of his life. He never would have made St. Paul or St. Harper without you. You are quiet strength and steadfast lamp where the winds beneath his wings. You walk beside him through every storm, and your presence was his anchor. To his beloved daughters, you will never fully know how proud your dad was. He cherished you. Often he would talk to me about you. His love for you stretched far into the horizon of God's will. He dreamed of your flourishing. He prayed for your peace and believed in your future with a father's fierce hope. To his sunny words, you are not only family, but friend and strength. In you he found companionship and trust. You stood with him, and he stood with you.
A man whose voice was very calm, but I tell you, whose ideas carried the weight of his vision. So in this, I will just encapsulate the three aspects of his legacy that embodies Dr. Mully as the person and as the leader that we know. I think before I mention all the three, in my reflection, I was away for a month, I just came back and I was thinking, all throughout my journey, I was thinking about his legacy. The most profound gift, I think, was his commitment to reconciliation. It was not just lip service. He walked the talk. Something which was profound because as a mentor to all of us, we remember how he led us, not by words, but by his word. And in Dr. Mully, I saw that he promoted a shared historical narrative that honored all the Naga tribes equally. And one of the few times that he was very stubborn was when he resisted this selective memory that divides communities, and which is employed by the enemy of the unity of the Nagas. I think besides just the Nagas, he reached beyond the indigenous community of Northeast to build a relation which will remain with us and which we have inherited. We may not know of it immediately, but in the days to come, when we go meet our friends outside the Naga community, around the indigenous community in Northeast, we will encounter every step of our negotiations and communications with them. Because, I feel that he knew very well, right from the beginning, in every conversation that I've had with him, it was always serious, he was always concerned, there was never a moment where he was frivolous when it came to the future of the Naga people. And I realized that unity was his main message. It is, he always tells us it's not just about celebrating our commonalities, but also about confronting our past wounds. In a way, he was like a philosopher who, in every platform that he shared or he gave a message always came with very thought-provoking insights, which we all learn from. And in all the meetings that I've had with him, because many people come with a lot of ideas, but most of the time we realize that those ideas are based on their personal bitterness perhaps, or personal agendas. But he always resisted that, and he encouraged us to seek forgiveness, not as weakness, but as a form of strength. And that is something which will remain with me all my life as a lesson I learned from Dr. Mully.
First and foremost, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the Forum for Mother Reconciliation for organizing this memorial service in honor of my beloved late husband, Dr. Mully. Your love and respect for him and your thoughtfulness towards me and my family have deeply touched us. I thank you, each and every one, for standing with us in this time of grief and sorrow. Today, as I stand here, I speak not only as his wife, but as someone who witnessed closely and daily the quiet strength and radiant humanity of a man deeply committed to his people, his faith, and his family. My husband and I were married for 36 years and 7 months, blessed with 6 daughters and 1 granddaughter. My husband was a man who lived not just with his mind, but with his whole heart. He believed that service to people was a sacred calling, blessing the needs of others and the society much above his own, sometimes even the family, and yet he has never once missed a day of significance or importance when it came to the family. He was ever present there for every major decision and event. He stood with us and by us, rejoicing in every victory, comforting and encouraging us through the losses, finding the time to create unforgettable memories for me and the children. He undertook a lot of travels due to his various commitments, and yet from each such journey, he would always make sure to bring us individual gifts and mementos, showing us how we were always in his thoughts, making us feel remembered. He was openly affectionate and daily affirmed his love for each of us, leading us with his unwavering faith in the Lord, taking us to prayer in every occasion, during times of joy and times of sorrow. It is both heartbreaking and profound that even before his last breath, he prayed for each one of us, his wife and the children. It is such a blessed coincidence for me and my daughters to have the message of Psalms 121 read out today. This particular psalm is so significant for us because whenever any of my daughters were setting out from home, be it for their studies, work, or any other reason, we would have a time of prayer before the start of the journey, and this was the psalm that my husband would read out every single time without fail. I thank the good Lord for this coincidence today, because it serves as yet another reminder of the love and care my husband gave to us. If I may be allowed to say so, my husband had a remarkable intellect, and he loved to share what he knew, because to him, knowledge was something to be shared and not held in reserve. It is my belief that anyone who interacted with him, even briefly, would have left having learned something. He also had a way with children. His heart had a tender, almost childlike joy. At times, when I reprimanded our daughters, he would be the one to spoil them. He knew how to make them laugh, imagine, dream, marvel, and appreciate the small beauties of life. He ensured that our children Children always felt seen and heard. That innocence and softness lived in him till the end. He was also a man of simplicity. He had no taste for extravagance, no desire for the dim luxuries of the world. In truth, if I hadn't urged him now and then, he would have been perfectly content with one shirt, a pair of trousers, and one pair of shoes. His heart was never caught up in having or getting more. It was always focused on giving more. And thus, perhaps, one of the things he gave most generously was empathy. He often expressed that the greatest strength a person could have was the ability to step into another person's shoes and understand them without judgment. He didn't just preach it, he practiced it everywhere and with everyone. Today we are honored to be surrounded by all of you, representatives from the various organizations he joyously and wholeheartedly dedicated his services to.
On behalf of the Kohima Education Society, as its member, and on my own behalf, I would first like to thank the Forum for Naval Reconciliation for organizing this memorial service for Dr. Phyobemo Ngully. He was the second chairman of the KES, which is a counterpart of the Kohima Education Trust, founded in the UK in 2004. Dr. Mully remained as chairman of the KES until his demise last July in 2025. I first met with Dr. Mully when he and the current president of KES and former KES Secretary Charles Tracy came to my home to invite me to be associated with the KES as a member in the early part of 2020. For someone with the kind of depth of experience of Naga society that he had, he was kind and gently patient with me, and had only encouraging words as I struggled to respond appropriately to the extended invitation. COVID restrictions later that year limited further interactions. However, in the following years, as my association with Dr. Mully grew, I came to know him as someone who was literally true to his name, Phyobemo, which in Lotha, which I've tried to find the meaning of, means fulfillment, true to his word, true to the word, and I'm sure it's a combination of all three of these interpretations. He was not shy of expressing his thoughts when he thought it would benefit the purpose or cause be undertaken. And on more than one occasion, his humility, keen sense of humor, coupled with the uncanny ability to speak straight, enabled him to say things without offending the other party. Some colleagues in KES recall how Dr. Mully told a celebrated British military historian that the exclusion of the local people in villages along the route of the proposed 39-hour-long walk from Jasami to Kohima to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Kohima in 2024 by the granddaughter of Lieutenant Colonel W.F. Bruno Brown would be tantamount to another form of colonization. Consequently, the walk down memory lane culminated at the Second World War Cemetery in Kohima with the participation of everyone. The walk revived the tale of a group of men who, with the Japanese hot on their heels, managed to escape across the hills to reach Kohima in 39 hours, and who would later regroup to dig trenches with their bare hands and fight the Japanese at Kohima. Dr. Mully had the vision to see beyond the walk, seeing it not just as a one-off event, but as one which would lead to a reenactment and revival of an important piece of Naga history for the people.
Today, indeed, we are all crestfallen and downcast. Dr. Mully, even though highly erudite and a person of great intellect, he has always been very sincere soft-spoken, compassionate, and a fine gentleman. The life and the story of Dr. Mully has taught us and inspired us to be simple, humble, courageous, truthful, molding our society and leading our people. It has never been about number, quantity, or size. But few individuals, a gentle soul, endowed with extraordinary wisdom and knowledge, an exceptional leadership quality in the person of Dr. Mully has always been an inspiration and instrumental, urging us to strive for a better life. Though we have never tested or experienced life after death, we are assured in the hope of our Lord Jesus Christ that paradise awaits good men and women, and we are comforted knowing that paradise awaits our leader, Dr. Mully. Dr. Mully has touched so many lives. He will be remembered long after he is gone. And bearing witness to his life, his story, and to celebrate his memories, let us all embrace each other and live every moment of our life as if it is our last. As trustee of his life's work, let us anchor our life on true friendship, love and respect for each other, and build a better future as envisioned by our leader. Thank you all.
And you call my name, and that moment when I see you face to face, waiting my whole life to hear you say, well done, good and faithful one. Welcome to the place where you belong. Well done, my beloved child. You have run the race and now you're home. Welcome to the place where you belong. What will it be like when tears are washed away and every broken thing will finally be made whole? What will it be like when I come into your glory, standing in the presence of a love so beautiful?
Allow me to recite a poem by Rabindranath Tagore, which was much favored by our Papa and often recited to himself almost as if it was his declaration of commitment towards working for the people. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear streams of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of that habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Although our Papa is no longer with us, in his memory, we want to share these words with you as a prayer in the form of a small memento. We hope that whenever you read it, it will bring you a little of the same inspiration that Papa carried with him. May these words remind you of the values he stood for the truth he stood for
for the love he gave and for the legacy he leaves behind. May it be a memory, a reminder, and a quiet light that keeps his presence alive. Thank you for studying with us today and for walking alongside him in this journey of life.